Soul Land 227 Original Novel DouLuo DaLu. Chapter 260. Two Great Spirit Beasts Crisis. Tang San said. Xiao Wu, don't worry, I'll catch up as fast as possible, one day or so doesn't matter. Deming and Erming are after all the rulers of Stardo Great Forest, they have an absolute advantage in location. Also, they're both highly intelligent, when they discover they can't contend they will figure out a way to deal with it. Even though Bibi Dong's people have great power, killing Deming and Erming quickly still won't be easy. After we enter the forest, we'll meet with them as soon as possible, and then focus on first escaping. A large-scale primal forest like Stardo Great Forest is the best place for my blue-silver domain, and with the vast sea barrier, saving them shouldn't be difficult. Xiao Wu nodded with red-rimmed eyes. Gee, I've grown up with Deming and Erming from childhood, they're like my brothers. I will definitely go save them. But the Spirit Empire is powerful. I don't want to put you in danger again. Tang San kissed her forehead. What idiocy are you saying? Aren't your brothers my brothers too? Originally, if not for Deming and Erming promptly rushing over, I would already be dead. I still hope for them to help me complete your resurrection. Don't think too much, we can definitely save them. Xiao Wu nodded cutely, burying into Tang San's arms, but her heart was already filled with worry. For some reason, she always had a bad premonition. As if something was going to happen. One day later, as they traveled urgently, Tang San didn't even rest, passing a full 24 hours in rushed flight, they had finally reached Stardo Great Forest. Tang San's body really was powerful, even though he deliberately didn't rest, the injuries from his encounter with Tang Chen had basically already healed. His spirit power had also recovered to peak condition, and his boundless mental power kept tiredness away even better. Tang San brought Xiao Wu to land outside Stardo Great Forest. It wasn't that he couldn't keep flying, just that there were numerous formidable spirit beasts in the forest, and when flying they would very easily be targeted by attacks, and using the vast sea barrier consumed a lot of Tang San's mental power. This time the opponent was extremely powerful, and Tang San would have to maintain his peak condition to rescue Deming and Erming. Walking into the forest, Tang San halted. Xiao Wu's soul returned to her body. You keep watch, I'll look for tracks first. Tang San sat down after sharing his thoughts with Xiao Wu. The Stardo Great Forest was so big that just randomly searching would be fruitless. At moments like this, Tang San's blue-silver domain could undoubtedly show its greatest effect. The spirit beasts in the forest's outskirts weren't too powerful, Xiao Wu keeping watch plus the blue-silver domain's own abilities was enough and spare to protect Tang San. Sitting down cross-legged, Tang San laid the sea god trident across his knees. His eyes brightened simultaneously, shining like two sapphires. The blue-silver emperor's 8 spirit rings appeared at the same time, a circular blue ripple expanding from his body, spreading out in a fan shape with a speed that was difficult to discern with the naked eye. Each plant could transfer the blue-silver domain. As early as before he reached rank 70, before his blue-silver domain had evolved, he could examine a vast area. Now relying on the blue-silver domain's vastly strengthened abilities after its evolution, as well as his boundless level mental strength, even he himself couldn't guess just how far it could spread. But he could be certain that, a place like the Stardo Great Forest, was the best place to fully use the domain. Auras of jubilant vitality began to connect with Tang San one by one, the tremendous force of life constantly rushing towards him, instantly relieving the bit of tiredness after the journey. Even though his eyes were closed, Tang San's field of view spread close to infinitely with a thought. Each plant in the forest turned into his eyes. He saw numerous spirit beasts with their own cultivation and shape, scenes of the strong preying on the weak. Of course, even more were one ancient plant after another. The thriving life force within the forest infected Tang San, giving him some new understanding of his blue-silver domain's evolved ability, boundless nature. Only, right now he didn't have the time to study this deeper. All his energy was placed on searching. Along with his perception constantly spreading, more and more plants joined in the blue-silver domain. Each plant released a trace of vitality that poured into the domain. Even though the blue-silver domain was growing larger and larger, there were also more and more plants within it. Tang San's mental strength not only didn't decrease substantially, on the contrary it faintly tended to rise. And his boundless level mental strength also swiftly analyzed the information brought by the numerous plants, not like before when too much information couldn't be controlled, and the domain could only cover a certain range. However, no matter how powerful it still had limits. When Tang San's perception spread more than halfway through the Stardo Great Forest, even he couldn't quite endure the excessive information. But by now his search also had results. In the information brought by the plants, he very soon found some clues to what he was looking for. Focusing his mental strength, he narrowed the search range. Like this, his blue-silver domain could reach even farther. Even though Xiaowu was just sitting next to Tang San, she could still feel the flourishing will to live in the blue-silver domain he emanated. Provoked by this will to live, Xiaowu was somewhat astonished to discover that her soul's consumption in her body was reduced somewhat, and was also even more stable. Like this, she could stay in her body for even longer. After a full hour of work, Tang San finally opened his eyes. But he didn't withdraw his blue-silver domain, instead looking at Xiaowu with a grim expression, speaking in a low voice. Let's hurry. Deming and Ming are in a bad spot. Finished speaking, he grabbed the trident with one hand, the other directly holding Xiaowu's slender waist. Releasing the 8 spider lances behind him, he leaned forward, and quickly moved forward through the Stardo Great Forest, carried by 8 resplendent spider lances. Xiaowu hurriedly asked. Gee, did you find them? How are they now? Tang San said. My mental strength search reached their general area, still very far from here. If we rush at top speed it will still take 12 hours to arrive. At present, Deming and Ming's lives still shouldn't be in danger. But they're running, and Bibi Dong and her people should be close behind. Deming and Ming's auras are very unstable, suddenly strong and suddenly weak. They should be injured, and very possibly seriously so. We have to rush to save them. Just now I used my mental strength to connect with them. Even though it was too far to truly communicate, I could still draw them to run in our direction. Like that we can converge a bit sooner. Don't worry Xiaowu. Heaven helps the worthy, they will definitely be all right. Even though he said so, Tang San's heart was still extremely heavy. With Deming and Ming's strength as the kings of the forest, the auras he detected were still so unstable, it showed how serious their injuries were. These 2 forest kings could rely on their gravity control domain and slow domain to escape, but they couldn't pull open the distance to those powerful pursuers. Fully using a domain required the support of energy, and the 2 forest kings clearly hadn't been tangling with those people for just a day or two. How long could they still hold out? The trees in the Stardo Great Forest grew extremely densely, and there was also a lot of underbrush. Flying inside the forest wasn't realistic, but relying on the 8 spider lances' terrain advantage, Tang San could be said to reach the pinnacle of his speed, constantly passing through the tiny openings in the foliage like a golden streak of light. Xiaowu saved her soul strength to be able to help Tang San in battle, and returned to Tang San's body, letting him place her body in the 100 treasure purse. Like this Tang San could unhindered reach the greatest possible speed. Time passed second by minute, and through the blue-silver domain's connection, Tang San could clearly sense himself constantly getting closer to the 2 forest kings. But their unstable auras were growing weaker and weaker. They had already come into contact with the powerful auras behind them several times, and each time they did, their auras would clearly weaken a bit. Elsewhere in Stardo Great Forest, the enormous Titan giant ape was madly rushing between the trees, the sky blue bull python curled around him with its head facing backwards, constantly releasing one cyan ring of light after another. They were already dyed red with their own blood, and the injuries the sky blue bull python had suffered were especially severe. Of its originally more than 30-meter long body, the last 7 or 8 meters were already severed, and the wound was still constantly dripping stinking black blood. Its eyes had lost their former luster, and with each ring of light it released, his eyes would grow a bit duller. Even the rest of his body was covered in clusters of scars, surrounded by large amounts of black corruption. His body would occasionally release a few bursts of smoke, and where the smoke passed the plants would wither, clearly showing how terrible the poison afflicting him was. The Titan giant ape's circumstances were a bit better than the sky blue bull python. But his body still held several wounds, especially a large sword wound on his chest was so deep the bone showed, and one could even vaguely see his beating heart within. If this wound had reached a bit deeper, it might have already cut his heart. Even though he was already completely weak, the eyes of the 2 giant spirit beasts were filled with rancor and unwillingness. This battle had already gone on for too long, they had been constantly fighting a running battle for the better part of a month. Those humans attacking them really were too powerful, especially those 2 fellows who last time used their spirit fusion ability to trap them. If not for them again using the same ability to temporarily lock down the 2 spirit beasts, making them suffer serious injuries, it wouldn't be so easily for these people to chase them. Ming's severed tail and Ming's chest wound were left from that time. Beyond those two, there was also one female human who was especially powerful. Even Ming and Ming's powerful bodies couldn't block her attacks head-on. Fighting and running, if they hadn't possessed domains that just slowed the opponent's pursuit, if they weren't exceptionally familiar with the Star Do Great Forest, they might have already been killed. Neither Ming or Ming had lower intelligence than humans, they of course knew what these humans were chasing them for. They were unwilling, absolutely unwilling to let them snatch away their spirit rings and bones. Even in death, they wouldn't let them succeed. Therefore, even though the two great spirit beasts were growing weaker and weaker, they still ran as hard as they could, without a thought of giving up. Second, I almost can't hold out, don't care about me, run on your own. While the green hills last, there'll be wood to burn. Didn't we get a signal for aid? You hurry and meet with them. I'll hold up these despicable humans. If they want my spirit ring and spirit bone, they're dreaming. I'll self-destruct rather than give them any benefits. The resentment in Ming's eyes was already at its peak. In terms of strength, Ming was above Ming. In the more than 10 days of fighting, he had also suffered more enemy attacks, taken heavier injuries, especially the poison inside him was constantly eroding his body, his life rapidly fading. No. Big bro. As long as I still have one breath left, I won't give up. Ming roared. He fiercely stomped on the ground with both feet, and a circle of intense golden light spread out behind him, once again slowing the enemies approaching behind them. The intense gravity within the range of the light even turned the plants to dust. Ming, let me down. Neither of us will survive like this. Hurry and go. The sky blue bull python Ming struggled on Ming's back, but his body was held tightly by Ming, and no matter what he couldn't get free. Big bro, do you believe I could still survive? That poison has already invaded my heart. What? Ming was shocked. The bullhead looked down, and then saw that the insides of the wound on Ming's chest had also equally turned black. Ming said bitterly. BG bro, you were right. Both of us can't escape the clutches of those bastards, no matter what. But since they dare come, then they definitely have some way to prevent us from self-destructing our spirit rings and spirit bones. We have to pull open the distance, with enough time we can do it. This group of bastards. Ming roared. Sharply turning his head back, an intense cyan light spat out. Amidst an explosive sound, an intense energy collision made everything behind them turn into dense mist, but Ming's eyes became even darker. Bibi Dong chased neither quickly nor slowly. If Tang San saw her, he would definitely be shocked to discover that Bibi Dong's legs were gone, from her waist down was a giant spherical body, and from this spheroid grew 8 coarse long legs, spurring her to walk as if flying. Those 8 legs had a lot of similarities to Tang San's 8 spider lances, only with large tufts of green fur, as well as sickening mucus constantly dripping to the ground with puffing sounds. Intensely corrosive. Bibi Dong was never willing to show her spirit in front of others before, just because her appearance after fully using it was too ugly. It wasn't just her lower body that changed, the skin on her upper body was also covered with a purple-black armor, and even her face was hidden by a carapace. Below both eyes grew another 4 little eyes. No matter how you looked at it, she looked like a giant poisonous spider. This was Bibi Dong's first spirit, Death Spider Emperor. Yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 red, 9 spirit rings were neatly arranged around her. A super spirit ring arrangement, titled DouLuo level power. Bibi Dong wasn't a bit anxious. Behind her followed 5 elders, including Chrysanthemum DouLuo and Ghost DouLuo. In the operation this time, she had brought altogether 6 title DouLuo level powers. Actually, she very clearly understood that just her strength alone was enough to kill those 2 great spirit beasts, but for the sake of insurance, this time the elite had moved out. Everything proceeded according to her plan. Experiencing more than half a month of pursuit, the 2 forest kings running ahead were already close to dried up lamps. Bibi Dong could completely erupt with her true strength to deal with them, but right now she wasn't in a rush. Targeted by her special ability, these 2 forest kings basically didn't have a chance to run. She fully understood the poison she had released. The faster Ming and Ming ran, the faster the poison would work. Before long, they would fall dead on their own. These 2 were after all the kings of the forest, so Bibi Dong chose this method because she was afraid they would lash back when facing death. After all, of the 6 title DouLuo she had brought this time, one had already died from the two forest kings' strength. The spirit empire was just in need of manpower, so Bibi Dong didn't want to see any more losses. Only, the two great spirit beasts were even more tenacious than she had imagined, and also possessed even stronger vitality than they had expected. They could block their pursuit while madly escaping even when they had suffered such serious injuries. 100,000-year spirit beasts were quite impressive. Bibi Dong's heart was now extremely excited. As long as she obtained the spirit rings and bones of these 200,000-year spirit beasts as well, she had absolute confidence in attacking the final step. The stronger the two forest kings in front of her were, the higher the quality of their spirit rings and spirit bones. And the more advantageous they would be for her to attack the final pass. Thinking of this, Bibi Dong's mood improved a lot. Getting them now seemed like just a matter of time. Moreover, it wouldn't take much more time. She basically didn't fear long nights or many dreams. Unless the Empire's High Priest DouLuo was here, none could stop her. But, why would DouLuo come here too? Besides him, even if the whole nest of the two great empires' powers came out, they would still be unable to stop her from completing the hunt. The 5 titled DouLuo behind her were enough to stop the attacks of any spirit master. In order to prevent the two forest kings from lashing back at death's door, Bibi Dong had even ordered the chase to slow down, always keeping a kilometer's distance with the two forest kings. But her mental power was rigidly locked on them, easily following, quietly waiting for the poison she had poured into them to take effect. As she watched, Ming and Ming's ground speed was already growing slower and slower. Ming had already begun to stagger, and the time he could maintain the domain energy behind him was also growing shorter. Bibi Dong laughed coldly, talking to herself. To be able to persist this long wasn't easy. Collapse. Become my spirit rings and spirit bones, it's your honor. Your Majesty, do we launch another round of attacks? Ghost DouLuo whispered. Bibi Dong waved her hand. No need. You 5 disperse, the later it is the more alert we must be. I'm determined to have these 2 spirit rings. There can be no mistakes. Yes. The 5 titled DouLuo quietly separated from Bibi Dong, forming a semicircular encirclement of the 2 great spirit beasts. All they had to do was maintain control, and wait for the spirit beasts to die from the poison. With the current condition of the forest kings, even if they joined hands it would be very difficult to attack any other titled DouLuo. At the same time, these 5 titled DouLuo also completely spread out their mental power, scattering their pressure around them, making any spirit beasts in the surroundings that might appear not dare approach. As long as they waited Bibi Dong to add a last attack to the dying spirit kings, this mission would be successfully completed. Even so much that Bibi Dong didn't need to attack. As long as the 2 great spirit beasts died from the poison, the result would be the same. Ming and Ming's eyes began to show despair. They knew they couldn't hold out. They wanted to rise up and kill one more enemy, but those spirit empire powers were each as slippery as ghosts. Just as they were about to attack, the enemy would immediately retreat, pulling open the distance and wait for them to retreat, when these enemies would again faintly maintain the encirclement. The 2 forest kings' speed could no longer compare to these titled DouLuo level powers. They could only helplessly feel their bodies weaken bit by bit. They now also understood the enemy's goal. These shameless humans would exhaust their life force, until they attacked at the last moment. Bibi Dong looked like she was heedlessly following, but her mental power was always tightly watching the 2 great spirit beasts. If she wanted their spirit rings, then the last person to kill them had to be her. She had to guard against the 2 great divine beasts killing themselves or each other. Her spirit abilities were already prepared, she absolutely wouldn't give them the chance. Ming and Ming naturally also sensed Bibi Dong's frightful mental power. Ming gradually came to a halt, and placed Ming from his back on the ground. Then he sat down. They weren't prepared to keep moving. If they continued, they would only exhaust their vitality. By stopping, perhaps they could still hold back their fate. Ming's chest heaved violently. The poison had already entered his heart. If he didn't possess such a powerful body, his life would already be long gone. Ming and Ming looked at each other. Ming whispered. Big bro, I'll cover you. Perhaps she can kill one of us, but the other will definitely have a chance for suicide. Ming saw the despair and helplessness in Ming's eyes. Suddenly, his eyes brightened a bit. No, wait a bit longer. Perhaps, we still have a chance not to die by their hands. Just at this moment, before Ming had finished speaking, suddenly, a gaudy golden light brightened in the Stardew Great Forest, Whether it was Bibi Dong or the other title DouLuo, their eyes were all drawn to this suddenly appearing golden light. The golden light appeared behind the indeterminately drifting ghost DouLuo. This line of golden light appeared without warning, like a golden pillar of light that came out of nowhere, directly enveloping ghost DouLuo. Ghost DouLuo screamed miserably, the black currents of energy surrounding him collapsing in an instant, exposing his true features. Violent pain made his whole body contort. 5 meters in front of him, a figure quietly appeared. A giant cloak hid this person's figure, only in his right hand was a 4-meter black trident. That golden light shot from his forehead. Careful! The appearance of his person suddenly made Bibi Dong feel intense danger, and she hurriedly ordered, "Kill him!" Bibi Dong herself didn't act blindly without thinking, because she had to target the 2 great divine beasts in order to kill them personally. Compared to Ghost DouLuo's life, the 2 great divine beasts' value was way higher. As an agility attack type title DouLuo, Ghost DouLuo's reaction should have been extremely fast. But at this moment, he basically couldn't produce any spirit ability. If that golden light had fallen on an ordinary person, they would only have felt comfortably warm, or even more than comfortable, even common illnesses would be cured. But, when it fell on Ghost DouLuo, it was no less of a hell than magma, his whole body was as if it had been set aflame, the violent pain reaching into the depths of his soul. Ghost DouLuo's spirit was extremely peculiar. He had once died in his childhood, but by chance, his soul was able to reattach to his body, thereby awakening his spirit, producing an extremely unusual spirit, that was Ghost. In some sense, his soul was his spirit, and he himself was a living dead. What Ghost DouLuo feared the most was the kind of sacred light like the seraphim spirit released. That kind of light was the nemesis of his spirit. And the golden light he faced, was even more terrifying than the sacred light of the seraphim he had once sensed. The divine power it contained precluded any chance of him breaking free, and he was even more unable to release any spirit ability. He did his utmost to urge his spirit power to endure, wanting to use title DouLuo level spirit power to break free. As long as he could break free, he would at most lose a few ranks of spirit power, but could stay alive. But, facing an immobile opponent, with the power in front of him releasing the golden light use only that golden radiance. This suddenly appearing person was naturally Tang San. Actually, he had already arrived as early as half a stick of incense ago. But, he at the same time also felt a mental strength not much weaker than his own. Therefore, he didn't dare directly hide, and rather hid with the power of the vast sea cosmic shroud, thoroughly camouflaging his aura and accumulating his mental strength inside, thereby avoiding discovery. When Tang San saw Bibi Dong, he was also quite shocked. But he calmed down very quickly, analyzing the current situation. As he saw Bibi Dong and her subordinate title DouLuo always keep a certain distance from the 2 great divine beasts, as well as the 2 great divine beasts weakening Vite Lighty, Tang San understood Bibi Dong's way of thinking. And just at this moment, Bibi Dong's subordinates spread out to keep the 2 great beasts from escaping, then giving Tang San his present chance. Tang San clearly discovered that Bibi Dong's mental strength was completely focused on Deming and Erming, and could give them a mental attack at any time, and then launch a destructive attack. Thus, as long as he was a bit careful with his mental power, it was impossible for Bibi Dong to discover it. When picking the target to attack, Tang San considered all his abilities, and ultimately chose Ghost DouLuo. Tang San of course had his reasons for attacking Ghost DouLuo. Among the 5 title DouLuo Bibi Dong brought, Tang San was only familiar with Ghost DouLuo and Chrysanthemum DouLuo, and had also seen a portion of their abilities. Taken alone, these 2 title DouLuo weren't very strong, neither was a title DouLuo with peak level spirits. But their position in Spirit Hall was extremely high, and for a very simple reason, because these 2 title DouLuo possessed a formidable spirit fusion ability. If it launched, even rank 95 or 96 title DouLuo would find it very difficult to block. Last time it was because they trapped Deming and Erming that led to Xiaowu finally having no choice but to sacrifice herself for Tang San. If he could kill one of these 2 first, then, it would undoubtedly make these Spirit Hall powers lose an extremely powerful restraint ability, even so much that it might be the strongest restraint ability they had. Next, after many times use, especially after the battle against the Slaughter King, Tang San's understanding of the Sea God's light had deepened a lot. This seemingly gentle light had a formidable evil vanquishing power. Even when it wasn't used with the Sea God Trident, it still had an extremely powerful effect on evil. Giving it the Sea God's name wasn't just a name. Ghost DouLuo's body was covered by a ghost dance, making it impossible to see his true features, dark and cold, clearly not a just way. The sea god's light would extremely possibly have a certain restraining effect on him. In an ambush, it would very possible create an opportunity for Tang San to instantly kill him. Even if he couldn't kill him, with the help of the sea god's light, Tang San still had a chance to seriously injure him. Of course, there was another reason Tang San chose Ghost DouLuo rather than Chrysanthemum DouLuo. Chrysanthemum DouLuo possessed the odd velvet sky chrysanthemum spirit, and had once tried to accept Dai Mubai as disciple. Even though Tang San didn't have any good opinion of him, he loathed him far less than Ghost DouLuo. With so many considerations, Ghost DouLuo became Tang San's first target of attack. Relying on the vast sea barrier to quietly hide behind Ghost DouLuo, the sea god's light exploded in an instant, with even better results than Tang San had anticipated. The other 4 title DouLuo all around instantly used their mental power to target him, and swiftly threw themselves in this direction, intensely pressuring Tang San, wanting to rely on their formidable auras to pressure Tang San into being unable to attack, and even quickly kill him while he was awed. Unfortunately, even though 4 title DouLuo added together could bring Tang San a lot of pressure, compared to the sea god's first trial, this bit of pressure was far from enough to hinder Tang San. Relying on his boundless level mental strength, Tang San straight up ignored them. The title DouLuo closest to Ghost DouLuo's position was 300 meters away. 300 meters, to a title DouLuo, was of course close to nothing, it could be covered in practically just a couple of breaths. But to Tang San, this couple of breaths was already enough to finish a lot of things. Seeing Ghost DouLuo struggle in pain under the sea god's light, Tang San inwardly exulted. He knew that he'd unexpectedly found Ghost DouLuo's fatal weakness. Without any hesitation, the sea god's light instantly changed direction, and the black trident stabbed out. Ghost DouLuo just felt his whole body relax, and that golden light that left him in so much pain turned away from him. But, before he could gather his strength to dodge, golden light flashed in front of him again, and light 10 times more intense than before covered his body in an instant. The giant trident had already reached his chest. Right now, all he could do was raise his hands and condense all his spirit power to try and block this attack. He understood that as long as he could escape this time, then, his comrades would rush over and tear this ambusher's corpse into 10,000 pieces. But, this time he couldn't block. On the 3 great prongs of the sea god trident, the golden light moved just like waves. How was this true divine weapon something Ghost DouLuo could block after just having been seriously injured by the sea god's light? The sharp blade blossomed with devil-breaking power. Ghost DouLuo only felt the spirit power he had condensed between his palms fly off, unexpectedly slipping past either side of the sea god trident. The next moment, an ice-cold feeling hit his whole body, and that gaudy golden light rushed out through his back. It finish it here. All girls and guys, comments, likes, or no updates. Comments, likes, shares, subscribes. See ya.